So that's the co-main event. We've done it. The main event, Alistair Overeem, Alexander Volkov, heavyweight matchup. Very important fight in the division. Cody Saftic, can you get us going here?
This is why the UFC always wins in the end, right? Because we were starting to get a little suspicious. Where it's like, wait a second, there's a lot of pink slip fights on this card. Why would anybody want to watch all of these guys who are likely going to be released from the contract? And then the UFC's like, quick, hit them with the 40-year-old veterans that are name brand guys. It's like, oh, Frankie Edgar, oh, Alistair Overeem, oh, Clay Guida. Okay, sign me up for this card. It's like you very quickly forget that anything that you might think is like low level, it's like they give you these aged 40-year-old veterans, but I just don't see it going for them, right? We've been seeing a trend in 2020, all these guys that you grew up loving, and they're just not quite who they used to be. They just don't quite have it anymore. It's a very tough sport. It's an unforgiving sport, and once you start getting into your later 30s and to your 40s, it's very difficult to keep up. Not everybody's a Yoel Romero. And to that extent, Yoel Romero was entertaining in fights. He was competitive in fights, but he wasn't exactly winning those fights. It's just tough to keep up. A guy like Frankie is one of those anomalies as well. Wow, he's fighting into his later stage of his career, and he's competitive against some good guys, but he ain't the man he used to be. Alistair Overeem is the same thing in that he used to be just the best striker you've ever seen. He's a former K1 champion, best striker you've ever seen in MMA. Former K1 champion, so he's competed with the best kickboxers in the world, comes to the UFC, he's got nasty knees to the body, he's got heavy hands, he's got it all. And then the knockout losses, 14 of them in his pro career, the wear and tear, the mileage, he just kind of switched up his game plan where it was like, you know what? I'm not going to go out there and strike with these guys anymore because I'm getting knocked out just as much as I'm knocking them out. I'm going to switch out my game plan. I'm going to be a wrestler now. I'm going to be a grappler now. I'm going to take these guys down. I'm going to out-grapple them. And that's kind of where he's been getting his success, but that's only going to get you so far. So the Walt Harris fight, he's getting beat up by Walt Harris, who, as far as striking goes, is not on Alistair Overeem's level, but it's like, oh yeah, he's beating him up. But then, Walt Harris gasses out, and Overeem, he's a wrestler now. He's able to take Walt Harris down. And one thing about Overeem that he's always had throughout his career is that if he does get you to the ground, his ground and pound is nasty. Like people always talk about back in the day, like Tito Ortiz ground and pound to finish you from the guard. It's like Overeem knock you out from the guard. He just starts smashing on you with hammers. It's like you got nowhere to go, but he needs to get the fight to the ground. And you do see him get down Walt Harris after he gasses. You see him get Augusto Sakai down after he gasses, but he relies on his opponent gassing out, and he relies on really low percentage, not very good takedowns to get down these guys once they're tired. Against Volkov, no doubt you could take him down. He's had an entire career of guys taking him down. But he's definitely been working on it. He's definitely been improving. And what you see in the Curtis Blades fight is he's still getting taken down, but now he's figured out, okay, if I can't stuff the takedown, I need to get back up. We were talking earlier about guys with the long limbs, Mike Rodriguez. It's hard to explode and get back up to your feet. That was Volkov's problem. It's very hard for him to get back up when he does get taken down. But now you see he pushes himself. He gets back up to the cage. He gets up to a knee. He's able to wall walk if he needs to. He gets back up. That makes you work. Curtis Blades, he's at elevation. He's got the best cardio in the heavyweight division. He can do this all night long. But you see by the end of that fight, Curtis Blades is huffing and puffing, and Volkov's still trying to make him pay. So Volkov's cardio is good. The takedown defense is a work in progress, but is improving. And his get-up game is going to be key. If Alistair Overeem goes out there and scores a takedown, 2 takedowns, but doesn't get a finish, he's not going to chain wrestle him. He's not going to get 5, 6 takedowns. He's not going to pull a 4 takedown performance like Curtis Blades. He will just gas out and allow him to he'll gas out. Once he's tired, it's going to be a bad move. Volkov's obviously one of these output guys as well. I think that good Twitter follow. It's like MMA by the numbers, whatever. But they were saying is that there's only 2 heavyweights currently on the roster that have ever scored over 100 significant strikes in 3 separate fights, Volkov and Junior Dos Santos. Well, Volkov, it's like that's his MO, man. Maybe he's not one of these heavyweights with a tremendous amount of power, but he's one of these guys that just keeps throwing and throwing and throwing. And that doesn't bode well for Alistair Overeem, who doesn't have a great chin, so you don't need a ton of power to knock him out. But also at 40, nearing his 41st birthday, it's only a couple months away, he just doesn't, I don't think he's going to have the cardio to go another 5 rounds. Did he against Sakai? Yeah, he went later into that fight. Did he against Jairzinho Rozenstruik? Yeah, he did. But those were low output fights. Sakai beat him up for 2 rounds and then got tired. Output fell off. Rozenstruik respected him a little bit too much, never really started get going into the later part of that fight. There was no volume. Volkov, I think he's going to put it on him. He's got a good rangy kick game, hurt him to the body, open up those strikes to the top. If Overeem does that stupid shell guard defense, which he almost always does, I think he's going to get hurt to the body here. And whereas everybody else has been tiring against him, Volkov's not going to tire against him. So I got Volkov inside the distance, specifically by KO, which is plus 140. And I'd like to say I feel good about it. However, it's heavyweight fights. It is Alistair Overeem, a guy, again, tons of back class, finds a way to snatch a win from the jaws of defeat. Do you want to disrespect him and go all the way in on Volkov? It's like, no, maybe not. But this is a tough card. There's a lot of iffy spots. You could make a solid case for every single underdog in this card. Alistair Overeem being one of them. But I'm going to go with Volkov. And then instead of trying to chase another favorite, it'll be a Volkov by knockout. Give me a plus money price tag.
Love it. Lock of the night. Who you got?
Yeah, I'll go with the dog here. Just not to play contrarian, but I do think that we see some solid improvements from Alistair Overeem over his last couple fights. The Augusto Sakai probably being the best one out of it. And again, Augusto probably not the greatest level of competition either. I like what the improvements we've been seeing from that. We see him changing his style of fighting. Like when he first comes into the UFC, going out there trying to knock everybody out, and then in doing so, he gets knocked out himself too sometimes. So after that Curtis Blades fight is when we truly see him go out there and be like, okay, I got to change my approach. You know what I mean? I spent my time at Jackson Wink. I spent my time at Sanford MMA. Now let me get with this guy who clearly just took me down whenever he wanted and did some good work from on top. Maybe I could adapt a similar type of game plan. So that's exactly what he does. He joins Curtis Blades' training camp. I believe it's Team Elevation. And since then, he's had 5 fights, and we've seen him complete 7 takedowns. So yes, he should be able to get Volkov down. Is he going to get him down to the level of a Curtis Blades where he goes 14 of 25 on takedowns? Probably not. It's probably not going to bode well for his gas tank. And this might be a little bit of a contrarian view. Now, we saw Curtis Blades take down Volkov 14 times. How much damage did we really see Curtis Blades try to dish out to Volkov while on top? It was more so control time that he was accruing than actual damage. So what's Volkov doing? Just chilling on his back, just waiting to get back to his feet while the guy on top of him is struggling to keep him down. That's why I think we saw Curtis Blades almost cough up a lung in that 5th round and basically die while trying to get interviewed by John Anik. Probably one of my favorite moments of last year. If you guys haven't seen that post-fight interview, please go watch that. I don't know why they even got this guy to try to do an interview in that state, but absolutely huffing and puffing at the end of that fight, which is why Volkov had some success in that 5th round. Volkov's chilling on his back, not eating too much damage, and then able to go out there and put on a bit of a pace on him in that 5th round. Whereas Overeem, we're seeing solid ground and pound work from him when he's on top. I think he's going to be able to do some damage on Volkov. I think he's going to get Volkov a little bit more tired than Blades was able to get him. And also, let's add into the fact that this new Volkov 2.0 in terms of adding on 18 to 20 pounds of muscle or whatever the hell he does, like he looks like a completely different person. The guy is thick. Like, let's call him Thickov from now on, because this guy, dude, like, you guys seen his arms compared to what he used to look like?
Yeah, he's
completely
big.
changed, man. He's a big dude. So I wonder how that fares for him in a 5-round fight, in a 25-minute fight. If this fight does get extended, if he's not able to take Overeem out in the first, second, or third rounds, how is that weight going to impact him in terms of dealing with a guy like Overeem, who should be able to get him down as long as his own gas tank isn't compromised and as long as he's conscious? That's always the fear here with Overeem, is his chin going to be able to hold up? But if he goes out there and completes his takedowns, lands some good strikes from on top, maybe wear out Volkov a little bit more than Blades was able to, maybe we could see a path to victory here for Alistair Overeem. And yeah, I do agree with Cody that we're seeing a slight regression from him in the striking realm, where he seems a little bit more hesitant to throw. He doesn't throw with as much volume anymore. And he almost Homer Simpsons it, where he just waits for his opponent to gas out, then he takes him down and starts to whoop him that way. I don't think we'll see him Homer Simpson in it here. Hopefully not. And the last thing I'll say in terms of a negative for Overeem is I don't like that defensive shell he gets into, right? When guys are starting to throw combinations, he's content with just putting his back on the cage and just putting his arms up, leaving completely the middle open. That body kick from right up the middle from Volkov is going to be money all day. The uppercut that Volkov has as well too will be money for him there too. But if he's not able to put out Overeem in those instances, his path to victory is going to have to be beating him by volume and possibly beating him by decision. Now, I want to bring up those 3 fights that Cody was talking about, where he landed over 100 strikes in 3 fights. You got Roy Nelson, Mr. Punching Bag himself, where he outstruck him. What is that? 122-32. Stefan Struve, probably the most awkward guy in the striking range, 135-41. And then Derek Lewis. We all know how that fight went, where that's Derek Lewis's game. He is the Homer Simpson of MMA. He is the one that gets his ass whooped until he goes out there and knocks you out. So Overeem, a little bit more of a sitting duck. I agree in his last couple fights. And to, lose those first couple rounds to Sakai, I absolutely expect him to lose those first couple rounds. But it's going to be later in this fight where I think that Overeem could potentially win this fight via decision. I gave out the prop last night at like plus 550. I think it's around that plus 600 range at this point. But I think we see that veteran move from Overeem, where we see him, withstand the pressure, hopefully, and his durability holds up. And if that happens, I think we'll see him complete takedowns on a regular occasion and be able to land some good damage from on top and pull away with the decision victory. Am I willing to part ways with my money, though? I'm not 100% sure, but I don't want to be playing that minus 200-ish on Volkov. I see the path to victory. It's absolutely there. The chin is always an issue for Overeem, so I understand if that's your approach for this fight. And chasing the inside the distance, Cody's right on the money there. I think that's the way to go here with Volkov. But I'm a cut Overeem some slack. Like the only guys to truly put him out on the feet, you got Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Francis Ngannou. In my opinion, two of the top three punchers at heavyweight, and you add in Derek Lewis into that conversation as well too. The Curtis Blades fight, he gets ground and pounded. You're going to see Volkov go out there and ground and pound this guy? I don't think so. And then Stipe Miocic, champion. Again, ground and pound finish. On the feet, it's only been the two heaviest punchers as of late. Well, I don't want to stretch back over 6-7 years ago when he's getting knocked out by Ben Rothwell, because sometimes these guys just have like a rejuvenation with their chin. Like Andrei Arlovsky, probably the worst chin we've ever seen when he was getting knocked out in that stretch. And now for some reason, he's able to eat bombs from all these other guys and go on and beat some of these young upstarts as well. Right, so Overeem, I'm liking the tools that he's adding to his game, and I think he should be able to complete takedowns, land some good damage from on top, and possibly accrue enough control time to get the judge's decision here. So I'm going with the dog, and I think he gets this via decision.
Very, very tough fight. A fight that I'm going to take Volkov in, but it's a tough pick, man. Overeem, he's just looked great. I mean, he's over 40 years old, but, really seems to have added that extra wrinkle in his game, heading to elevation. Lost to Curtis Blades, got taken down repeatedly, got dominated, added the wrestling to his game. And I feel like a lot of people, if they see this victory for Overeem, it needs to be based off those takedowns. It needs to be him getting Volkov on his back and landing that damage from up top. But you know what? Blades took down Volkov 14 times, but what that also means is Volkov was able to work his way back up to his feet so many times repeatedly over and over again. I think Overeem's probably going to have some success early on with some takedowns, but I think Volkov's going to be able to get up. Both guys, very, very efficient strikers, probably the most efficient heavyweights we have. When they throw a significant strike, odds are it usually lands. I do think the size of Volkov could play into this. I think Volkov at this point, just being the younger guy, I love Overeem. He's talked about this being a title run, but sadly, I think it comes to an end here. I think this may be the last time we see Overeem. I mean, if he loses a fight, that pushes him away from title contention. He's acting like it's title or bust. Unfortunately, I'm going to take Volkov in this one, and I think that might be the end for Alistair Overeem if he's true to his word that this is his last run, his last title run. So there you go, folks. That's it. I got Volkov. I don't know how he gets it done. I could see a decision. I could see him getting it done inside the distance. I could see Alistair Overeem winning this fight, though. This is a very close fight, and I understand anyone putting their money on Overeem as that underdog, especially as that line just continues to get juicier. But the pick for me is Volkov. That is UFC Vegas 18 in a nutshell. We got it done. Props to our boy Guru. Happy birthday, Guru. Hope you're having a great time while we're out here holding it down